Hey fellas, and welcome back to With a Y. Today I want to show you something really gross and messed up that made my butt pucker in when I saw it because it was just trying to close itself off from what it was looking at. This guy Marin at marshballs_ had a pretty banger tweet on the timeline the other day. I still find it really interesting how Frisk stops resembling a human throughout the course of a genocide. If you guys don't know, this is based off of several lines of dialogue in the game where as you get further and further into a no mercy route, Sans will start saying things like, oh, keep on pretending to be human, or Undyne will say, human, monster, no, whatever you are. Asgore doesn't even recognize you as a human, he just thinks you're a monster species. He's like you're ringing a bell on, he just can't think of on the top of his head. And this was Marin's interpretation of that visual. You have regular Frisk on the left over here, tired looking, but just a kid who's still able to enjoy life. I also like the typography they did for it. Regular Frisk, just a normal ass dude, they ain't bothering no one. And then Frisk at level 20, it's just malformed, fat, full of butterscotch pie. The clothes start to merge with their body. It becomes harder to tell where it stops and starts. Basically, if the features that were on the original Frisk sprite were way more literal than we realized, you can see the veins popping all over this face, and the orifices for the eyes and mouth just suck in to be not even Voldemort proportions. This is even crazier in my opinion. Still, distinct lack of nose on this. I was just immediately off-put when I saw that original Frisk level 20 drawing, and in a good way. There were some expansions on this. I do love how Marshballs was just coming out swinging whenever they had a little comeback for any criticism in the comments. Bro, Frisk doesn't stop looking like a human, LMFAO. I think it's obvious why Sans says to keep pretending to be one. He's just calling you evil. And that's the issue. I'd almost agree with this if there wasn't literal examples, aka Asgore, where he literally doesn't recognize you as a human. He recognizes you as an unidentified monster. Marin's argument was much simpler, maybe, but also have you considered it's a really funny visual gag? Again, we say this a lot on the With a Y channel, but the bit supersedes a lot of other criteria. Logic, reason, practicality, self-preservation, they're usually lower on the onus hierarchy of needs than whatever the bit is. Marsh over here also had a fun little sketch that was depicting what other people who are running into Frisk mid-genocide run are reacting like. I really want to know what they look like halfway through if they turn into a grotesque-looking form of their in-game sprite. It's got to be a really nightmarish transformation. This is their final form where they've almost calcified into a more detailed version of this sprite, but until they get there, they're probably bleeding all over the place, just covered in lumps as they get shaped up. Dude, are you okay? You kinda stink. Half their bones are broken and they're rotting alive, but still holding on due to determination, and they're just wearing the ballet skirt and shoes. Bloodshot with bodily fluids coming out of every hole on their body. It's probably not as shocking to monsters as seeing dust would be, because blood just looks like red water to them. It's not something they relate to as having something inside them. Are we gonna have a fucking problem? One of one? Gonna? That gonna? Oh my god! Frisk, I didn't know you knew ball. You had people making comparisons where it's the random images of what if Mario was realistic, and it's just adding way too much detail to 8-bit sprites. This shit goes hard. I'm gonna make it my laptop wallpaper for 10 years. There was also a lot of fun community contributions, from Killer7082 over here. Chara looking at deformed shape, barely resembling a little kid they saw when they got reawakened, mutilating and most likely also consuming another low-willed monster to quote-unquote be stronger. This kind of does play into the idea that your actions as the player taking the no mercy route on were what corrupted Chara's already vulnerable soul into being as twisted as it was by the end of your no mercy route. Level 1 or 0, whichever it is, just a normal ass dude. Level 10, you're getting pretty close to Gaster territory. Level 20, just fucking open this guy's maw, dude. Just give him some extra rows of teeth, why not? Turn them into Susie Gaster Deltruin at this point. That art was from Random G3865578, by the way. Some people also pointed out how it could also be seen as this is what determination does to anybody who has too much of it. Omega Flowey, who had level 9,999 and came out the other side looking like this fucking thing. And also Chara, who was leveling up alongside you, being able to contort their features in ways that we hadn't seen them do before. We had the at lore dump from Asriel recording in the True Labs, the quote-unquote scary face Chara was able of doing. Here's some potential Sans dialogue for this interaction of the game, and Jesus Christ, it's kind of grisly. Hey, you've been busy. Looks to the right, eyebrows actually go down a little bit in concern. Kid, you look disgusting. You smell disgusting, too. This isn't me trying to use a metaphor, you actually just look like shit. You smell like it, too, holy shit! What the fuck is wrong with you? A stench so bad that it becomes more concerning to Sans than the fact that you've just killed the entire underground, including his brother. That's nuts. This works well because there's a moment in the Geno route where even the king as asshole Kanye Westy likes doesn't recognize what the hell Frisk is. Nice detail in Pikachu. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. What kind of monster are you? I don't recognize this one. I don't even know why this tweet banged. It's just funny to me. Really funny interpretation. 13,000 likes. And I don't disagree. It obviously caught on for me too, considering I'm covering it right now, and that shit's so funny. I thought the text said 420, and they were implying that Frisk gets super grotesque when they're high. I don't blame Flowey. If I had to witness this fucking thing, stop making that creepy face. You have a weird looking face, Frisk. Stop pointing it at my direction. I don't like making eye contact with you, and I'm not even sure if I am, because I don't know where your eyes are anymore, dude. They've sunken inside your skull. Like, the hoods of your eyes have literally overtaken it, so it looks like a puckered butthole where they should be. Okay, this one's so stupid. Regular Frisk. Frisk at level 20, and it's Billy the Butcher. Billy Butcher? Butcher? Whichever, from The Boys. The thought of that creature on the right being capable of an expression that reads as quote-unquote extremely pissed off scares me. Yeah, I don't want to see what it looks like when this thing, who looks like it has a rock and hard bone for like a face, tries to emote. You know, I guess Sans is made out of calcium and he can move his shit around. You can Undertale logic your way out of this writing hole, but I'd prefer not to. I don't want to like even consider what that looks like. Okay, and this person was just absolutely spitting on like the kind of meaning you can take away from this. If in the game LV stands for level of violence, and it's explicitly stated that the more people you hurt, the easier it is to distance yourself and to continue to hurt them, therefore gamifying it and making it less personal. The idea that as Frisk does such an atrocity, they become less of a real character and become a literal video game sprite, just more accurate to their representation in the game as opposed to something you just kind of accept there's a lack of detail in and that you can fill in with the gaps with your brain. It's like, no, that's pretty close. As you're controlling them, they lose all morality and individuality. And it's your fault, player. It's all your fault. Leaning into the gamification of an atrocity is really interesting. As you become more and more detached from the reality and people within it, so does the literal form of Frisk. Spitting! They are spitting! Real quick, let's also just run through the specific examples of No Mercy route Frisk being referred to as something other than human. My brother really would like to see a human, so you know, it'd really help me out if you kept pretending to be one. Also, a lot of these are just way more bars than I expected. Human. No. Whatever you are, for the sake of the whole world, I, Undyne, will strike you down. And this comes after she recognizes that monsters and humans are equally in danger of your wrath after what you've done in the underground. Like, they're explicitly fighting on the same side for once, man. That's a rough spot to be in. What kind of monster are you? Sorry, I cannot tell. I'm asshole. I'm blind. Then at the end, they morph into this sprite, which is not more than Frisk's body trying to resemble the one of the first human. Well, look at this sweet little chocolate. They were an innocent person before they got corrupted by, you know, a mass murderer who awoke into their spirit from the grave. You should have just let them rest, man. And then they do this kind of unnatural stretching that we haven't really seen any flesh being in the underground be as explicitly capable of. Like, the dude just starts leaking. They start becoming photorealistic with skin and hair like ours as the connection between them and us gets stronger. Imagine it like this. That kind of is at odds with my interpretation of how this is happening in universe, where it becomes more gamified since they just each kill means less and less than the last one for Frisk. But it also is kind of funny, like, the more we pour our suspension of disbelief into Frisk, the closer they get to touching our world in levels of detail. What the hell is this person talking about? The concept of turning into a chipmunk once you are sufficiently genocidal sounds silly, but it is not without precedent. Where are you citing this source from, Big Dog? Where? I need to know. I'm actually unironically interested in it. I also love the idea that the opposite is true, where the less detached you allow Frisk to become in the context of the game, the more of a hero, like a true hero, they grow into being. So true pacifist Frisk is just literally in-universe Superman. At a glance, you can instantly recognize them as a force for good after enough time has passed and as someone you can trust and rely on. A symbol of hope, truth, truth and justice. What they've had to demonstrate through action for so long becomes obvious through their mere aura alone, and this can apply to both the no mercy and the pacifist routes if we're going with the interpretation or running with through the most of this video. This makes it seem like Frisk has an intense allergic reaction to monster dust, and despite the fact it's literally hurting them, they can't do anything about it. They just get more swollen and swollen every time they kill a monster, and they're like, dude, I'm not doing this on purpose. This isn't working out for me either. You guys just keep trying to kill me, and I'm like self-defensing myself. And you know, this is a novel enough concept. I think it was entertaining enough to read some of the takes on it, but we should end on this one. I love this idea, but please don't draw that again. Anyways, that's all I got. That kwytebox email is in the description if you guys want to send me any video topics. Anyways, piss off.